Gonna climb the mountain in the distance. Gonna climb. This is Northampton or Easthampton, Massachusetts. So kind of south central Mass. Looks like an oak laurel forest with your calmia. Latifolia, you got an eastern hemlock right there, a Tsuga canadensis. Icy trail, so it's still winter here. It's pretty much spring along the coast. Knock on wood on this Quercus rubra right here. We got some maple here. We got witch hazels there. Hemelinus virginiana on this icy path that I'm likely gonna slip and break my ass on. But we'll see what happens. Don't look like much now, but this is Rubus odoratus, or the purple flowered raspberry. Has these big, beautiful purple flowers. In the rose family. Usually thornless. Pretty cool. And then that little vining, twining thing, that is black swallowwort. That's an invasive plant related to milkweeds. So I just came back from the relatively shallow part. And this is where the real game begins. So here we have Helianthus divaricus, or the woodland sunflower. And it looks like a sunflower. It just grows in the woods. Yellow flowers in the late summer. Beautiful. Great for the garden. Just thrives in shade. Part sun and sun. I wonder if any of the little seeds are good. I'd love to take this home and grow it. Maybe not. I think the birds got them all. But it is growing on the slope up here on Mount Tam. Growing on the talus on this TrapRock ridge, this basalt dome. Maybe it's not a dome, it's more like a ridge. But it's ancient basalt from millions of years ago. Basalt being an igneous rock. I think it's extrusive rather than intrusive, like the granites you find in southern New England. But don't take my words for it, because that might not be true. Here we have a hop hornbeam and Ostrea virginiana. You can tell because the bark and the stature. It's a small birch-like tree. And here's a close look at that basalt breaking away in its vertical crystalline structure. Isn't that neat? And that's a nice sunrise. Here we have Rosa carolinea, or the Carolina rose, an upland dryland rose. Here's its hips, and it has these kind of pinky purple flowers, similar to the flowering raspberry, but this one's actually not a rubus. This one is a rosa. Same family though. Here we have your Betula papyrifera, or your paper birch, or white birch. Isn't that nice? Up on the uplands, they need the kind of full sun or part sun areas like up on these hills to thrive. But even then, I have yet to find large patches of this. Here we have Quercus ilicifolia, or the bare oak or shrub oak, typical in dry habitats like this one, up on the nearly the top with the basalt. And a nice sunrise in the ridge that extends towards the south. Here's a beautiful Rus typhina with a staghorn sumac, a wonderful native plant. It almost looks tropical, and you can eat the berries. Great for birds, love the berries. Great for pollinators. It's a wonderful little tree and great for the garden, but people call it a weed. I think it's one of the most beautiful shrubs or sub-trees. I mean, these can get up to 30 feet tall. I've seen them actually taller, maybe 50 feet tall, but that's after a while. Trying to beat my truck down there. Come on. What if I just throw my keys? That would be fun. That would be a fucking trek. Slide down the slippery slope to go try to save the keys. Alright. I did it once, but you get the premise. My truck is over there. Here we got Lespedeza capitata, or the round-headed bush clover. If it decides to focus. Well, I guess not. So we'll just have to finger it. There we are. A little pea family plant with kind of very small white flowers in all those little, each one of these little bracts has a flower in it. Not too showy, but very nice. Nice native plant growing up here on the Basalt Ridge known as Mount Tom in Northampton, Massachusetts. With the Juniperus virginiana, the juniper, the eastern red cedar. Here we got Spirea alba, or the white meadowsweet. Nice little wildflower. Rose family. It's a shrub, or subshrub, and it grows up in these highland drylands. It'd be great for the garden. It's a very nice plant. Better than the stupid Japanese Spirea. Here we have a very old Galusha baccata, or the black huckleberry. You usually don't see them this big and gnarly. Usually they're much smaller. But you can tell it's old by its old peely bark and the thickness of it. It's not too much taller. I mean, I've seen ones that are taller, but just not as gnarly, not as windblown. It's pretty cool. So looking this way, right here, that little body of water, that's actually the Connecticut River. The largest river in New England. Nice crisp snow up here. And then this body of water right here, that is a reservoir. Isn't that nice? It's good to see some sun without too many clouds. The last 13 days here, it's been cloudy. And, you know, we've had peaks of sun here and there, but 13 days of mostly overcast skies. You know, it puts a number on the soul. You gotta have your sun. So this is nice. We're gonna have that little sunny part of winter where, you know, at least in southern New England, you know, it might get it to the low 40s, but at night it dips below 20, maybe even into the teens a little. That's excellent. It's good to see some sun up here on this ridge. And situated up on this hill is a TV and radio station. Go check it out. Here we got Hedwigia ciliata. With the Hedwigia moss. Hedwig's moss. Nice little rocky bryophyte. Only grows on rocks. I never see it anywhere else. So we got this sign more or less just says that the radiation emitted by these towers is not FCC approved for human exposure. So while my cell service might be good, you might get cancer after a while. That's cool. Here we have Anothera bianus, or the evening primrose. These have nice, beautiful yellow flowers. And they're biannual, sometimes perennial. And these are awesome garden plants, blooming from like late June all the way through October, at least here in Connecticut. But this is in Massachusetts, so maybe that's different. Here we have Baptisia tinctoria, or the Baptisia tinctoria. You know, I just like to say it like that. It's a nice little pea family plant. Baptisias. Faboideae, Fabaceae, you know what it is. These all have little tiny peas in them, little tiny seeds. Great perennial plant. Yellow flowers, kind of like this kind of bushy blue-green plant. It's wonderful, one of my favorites. Look how cool, it's a TrapRock ridge. This is all basalt. Not sugar, not spice, basalt. Volcanic rock. Love it. Look at all the white pine forest down there. Over here, probably 10 or 15 years ago, they had a microburst. Pretty much a giant downdraft from a severe thunderstorm, and it knocked down every tree along this side of the slope. And my thought is the thunderstorm's coming from the west, because that's usually where they come from. And, you know, it's getting updrafts or whatever from all sides, but as soon as it reaches this, there's no longer, it's like a wall, and so it suddenly does not have enough energy to keep the the thunderstorm going, keep all the moisture that's in the air from the surrounding valley, you know, keep it from going straight down. So when it hits this sharp cliff here, it pretty much lost all of what was maintaining the thunderstorm, and so it just like it dropped down, a downburst, a microburst, and it knocked down like almost every tree, you know, and power and whatnot. Super cool. That's my theory, at least, but it's plausible, you know. Here we have Hedioma puljoides, or the pennyroyal. It's a little mint family plant, and these are tiny little kind of purpley pink flowers, the mint family, and they can smell quite nice. You typically find them in uplands and glades such as this one. Pretty cool. Relatively uncommon, but where you find it, it's kind of locally abundant. Here we have some Comptia peregrina, or the sweet fern, which isn't a fern. It's actually related to oaks. How cool is that? Neat. Now I'm in the area where that microburst hit, and the tops of a bunch of the trees in here are knocked clean off. And there's a lot of deadfall. This trail is apparently closed due to dangerous conditions. But it's a trail, so I'm going on it. It's better than walking on the road, which is up there. In this blowdown, it's coming back up with Betula lenta, the sweet birch. There's some invasive stuff. There's Oriental bittersweet, Celestris orbicalis. There's a staghorn sumac right here. That's what those are. And it's pretty young. And saw some other invasives. So it's going to come back kind of as a young invaded forest with some scattered larger trees like this one. Probably 90% of the trees on the slope here were knocked down. Look at it all. This must have been a bitch to clear. And by clear, I mean like clear the path. There was so many logs down right here that he or she just cut a narrow path over this stump right here, instead of cutting through all these, which I'd say is pretty dang smart. It's crazy to think that, I mean, these are all a mix of living hemlocks and oak, and some of them, they're just blown, like their roots are just snapped right at the base. Blown right down slope. Nice little puffballs up on this stump here. Love it. One of my favorites. Puff, 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 puff. Well, the trail doesn't exist anymore, so I'm just gonna brush whack back to the road up there, which might take me an hour. Not too long ago, I was up there, and I gotta get through all this crap. Trail closed for a reason. Fuck. Here we got trailing arbutus, otherwise known as Epigea repens. A wonderful ericaceous subshrub. Beautiful little pinkish white flowers in the spring that smell amazing. Well, I'm finally out of there. And now I'm on the road. And there's the talus slope, which I bet you there's some nice plants during the summer up on the talus. Some people fucking far behind me watch me peer over the guardrail, and they're thinking probably, holy shit, because it's exactly how it feels going uphill through that. Jesus Christ.